It's time to sit back, relax, and listen to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life will inspire, motivate, and empower you. Live your best life now. Listen, learn, think, and decide. Change your attitude, change your life. And now, here's your host, Joan Herman.
Welcome to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. You're listening to us in your neighborhood from coast to coast and around the world. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Joan Herman, author, speaker, and your host. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life brings you interviews with some of the most inspirational and influential people in the world. It's our goal to educate and empower you so you can live your best life now. Thank you for taking time for yourself, and thank you for letting us be a part of your life. We have another great show for you today. Joining me is Sonia Choquette, a spiritual teacher and the author of 19 books, including the New York Times bestseller, The Answer is Simple. Her newest book is entitled Walking Home, A Journey from Humble to Healed. Sonia is the host of the weekly radio show, Six Sensory Living. Welcome, Sonia. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm so excited to be with you.
Sonia, I'm happy to have you join us today because I love the topic that we're going to discuss. You say that we have six senses and that our sixth sense should be our first sense. What is our sixth sense and how does it impact our life?
I believe that our sixth sense is the wisdom and the intelligence that comes through our heart. The heart is an intelligent organ. It's the first organ in the body to develop. It's an informing intelligence. When the heart beats, there is life, there is consciousness, there is presence, life force. And that heart is developed way before the other senses. And our heart can guide us accurately. And it informs and goes into and guides through and gets our attention through our other senses. Therefore, we'll have the gut feeling or something just kind of pops into our head or we have a vision or a dream because that's how the heart communicates. But sometimes we just know, we just feel it. And when we listen to that inner intelligence, it brings us back to integrity with who we really are.
Sonia, is everyone intuitive? Is it something that comes naturally or is it a skill that we must practice?
Well, it's both. Everyone is born with a beating heart that informs. So every one of us has a capacity to be profoundly intuitive. But we drift away when we get stuck in viewing our life, viewing the world exclusively from the left brain. And that means that we cannot be in touch with our heart. That means that when we're in our left brain, we lose touch. And technology puts us in the left brain, and computers and television and, that fight, flight, freeze communication that makes all of us just be outwardly focused as opposed to inwardly focused. But if we can balance that out by going inward, listening to the heart, checking in, being quiet, it's not even difficult. Just put your hand on your heart and say out loud, my heart says, and let it speak. And there's your intuition right there.
Sometimes what happens to me, and I think this happens to a lot of other people as well, we get the thought or we have that feeling that we believe is our intuition, but then I know I'll say to myself, well, is it really my intuition or is it my own thoughts that I'm projecting? How can we distinguish between what is our true intuition or what is something that we may be projecting ourselves into our mind?
That is a very good question. And again, say whatever you intuitively feel out loud and listen and pay attention to how your body feels. If it's true intuition, your body will feel balanced. It'll relax. There's an opening. There's an expanding. When it's your wishful thinking or your fears or your forceful thinking, your body contracts. It feels defended. It feels stressed. There's a dissonance. So you actually can tell physically, because if it's your intuition and if you're tuning in, even if it's a difficult awareness, Like, no, he doesn't love me, or yes, that job isn't going to work out, or yes, or no, this isn't the right thing to do, even though you want to go that direction. Your body will still feel relaxed. It'll be like a key in a lock. It clicks, it opens. It's like, yes.
Sonia, why do you think people are so afraid to trust their intuition when everything that you just described happens and still we do what we know we shouldn't do? Why are we afraid
Well,
to trust?
I think there's two reasons. One, intuition brings you back to your most authentic self. And that takes courage to live in that high frequency. It takes courage to take that kind of responsibility for who you are and for living in the integrity of who you are. Okay? So people get scared because we've been conditioned to live for the approval of others instead of live in the authenticity and the integrity of who we are. And the second thing is that we're not conditioned to be that responsible. We're taught that we can't trust ourselves. So we have a lot of feedback that says, oh, you have to listen to your outside authorities. But here's the thing. The minute you start listening to your intuition, and the minute you start small, start in little things, you have such an immediate sense of relief and such a positive experience of feeling in an integrity with yourself, which means wholeness, feeling authentic and true, that it's worth it. And it doesn't take much effort to get the positive reward.
Sonia, what aspects of life can benefit most from following our intuition?
Well, I think you can benefit across the board. First of all, your health will improve because your fear levels will go down. When you start living in integrity, there's less dissonance, which means less stress. The second thing is you'll start having more synchronicities and positive connections, so life becomes more exciting, gets into the flow. Your work will open up because intuition also dovetails into your creativity and bright ideas and inspiration. They all go together. And your relationships improve.
You wrote a book entitled Walking Home, A Journey from Humble to Healed. What was the inspiration for this book? What was going on in your life?
Well, it was a time in my life where I was dealt tremendous consecutive blows and losses. My dad died, my brother died in his sleep, the stress caused my father to die 6 weeks later, and the implosion of stress on me caused my husband of 30 years to leave me because he wasn't used to me being in such a vulnerable place. And it was a crisis time for me. And in order to heal, I actually asked for my intuition to guide me, and I got this incredibly unexpected guidance to go on a walking pilgrimage, to leave everything behind. And so I took a pilgrimage of 35 days, walked what's called the Camino de Santiago, and in the course of that time, I came to a place of forgiveness, healing, acceptance, and found myself able to move on with peace and at ease with everybody.
Sonia, does everyone have a soul plan? And if we do, how do we know if we're living it?
I think we have both a soul purpose and soul lessons. Our purpose are the contributions of using our gifts to help other people. People confuse purpose with profession. And so often, because our job is unfulfilling, we feel our life has no purpose. But it really has to do with using the gifts you have, whether they're gifts of support or comfort or creativity or groundedness or invention or healing or positive uplifting like you're doing. That's our purpose. Our lessons are those things where we don't self-love. And we have to address those areas of our life where we begin to self-love, self-accept, forgive, accept the human condition, which is sloppy and painful, and we unfortunately hurt each other in the process. But if you address both, then you will feel peaceful. And you know how you know? You don't have to think much. You're not sitting there worrying and fretting and stressing. Just get up and you're present every day to what's here right now, and that is such a blissful feeling.
Sonia, you just spoke about going through a time in your life with unimaginable grief. What would you advise to someone to help that person heal from tremendous grief or sorrow?
Well, the first thing I would advise is to tell them you can heal, because I think people get scared and think this is forever and I'll never get out of this. And that one of the ways to heal is to have a lot of compassion for yourself and be with your feelings instead of fight them or tell yourself you need to feel or think otherwise. But walk with them or move with them or breathe with them, listen to them, and then they'll start to lift on their own. The key is not to beat yourself up and to not try to figure your way out, but to just realize that everything that comes brings a blessing in time and that you have enormous inner strength, and to be patient with yourself. Things will improve. If you can, go for a walk. Notice what's around you, even for 5 minutes a day. If you can't move, then put on music and just let your mind move to the music, to the rhythm, so you can move some of this heavy emotional energy out of your body.
Sonia, if you could sum up your work, the body of your work, how can we tap into our spirit within to guide us to live a fulfilling life, the life that we're meant to live?
Well, the first thing is to trust that your intuition is a part of who you are. It is your heart. It is the wisdom of your heart. And to give yourself a moment or two every day where you allow the wisdom of your heart to speak to you. And it's not a matter of close your eyes and try to get there. Just put your hand on your heart every day and for 3 minutes say, "My heart says," and just keep saying whatever comes out loud. Don't have to do anything about it. You don't have to react to it. Just express it. And you will begin to understand that you're a very conscious, clear person with a lot of wisdom and a lot of guidance available to you right away.
If our listeners would like to get more information about Sonia or the topic that we've been discussing today, you can visit her website, soniachoquette.net. That's SoniaChoquette.net, soniachoquette.net. And as I said, Sonia is the author of 19 books on various aspects of this topic, so there's a wealth of information there. Her newest book is entitled Walking Home, A Journey from Humble to Healed. Sonia, thank you so much for being here with us today. Before we run out of time, very quickly, in 30 seconds or less, what message would you like to leave our listeners with?
Always trust your vibes. Always and always trust what your heart says.
Sonia, again, thank you so much for being here with us today. It was a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you. Thank you. All my love to you and your listeners.
We'll be right back. Hi, this is Joan Herman, host of Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Did you know that Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life has a free monthly digital magazine that can be read online or emailed to your inbox? Every month, nationally recognized leaders in their field provide information to educate, inspire, and motivate you. We believe in a holistic approach to life, incorporating mind, body, and spirit. Check out a copy of Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life 24/7. Visit CYACYL.com and be sure to tell your friends. Thank you for joining us today. We hope you found the show informative. At Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life, we believe that knowledge is power. Take what you've learned, apply it, and live your best life now. Remember that the information provided are the opinions of our guests and should never replace the advice of a professional who knows your personal situation. If you'd like more information, visit our website, CYACYL.com. That stands for Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. While on the site, listen to past shows on demand, read the digital magazine, take part in the book club, and be sure to follow the show on Facebook and Twitter. Until next time, this is Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in.